All right, so good morning, everyone. Um, I hope you are doing well. Yeah, I hope everything goes well. Now, as you know, we couldn't have classes on Monday, right? And that's the reason of why we were scheduled for today, right? And so, okay, one more time, thank you for understanding some situations that are out of my control, right? So okay, but the good part is the good news that we reschedule again, right? Okay, so we're gonna start with today's classes. Today's lesson is about comparisons with as plus adjective plus as. So we're gonna listen this audio first, and then we're gonna start with it.
Hi, I was just thinking about my friend Andrea. She's a journalist like Talia. I think she's just as smart as Talia, but she's not as ambitious. As smart as and not as ambitious are comparisons with as. Let's learn about them.
Okay, as smart as not as ambitious, right? So this is a short lesson, right? We're gonna have a little press time. Okay, so first of all, we're gonna learn when do we have to use comparisons with adjectives. So let's listen. Point number 1.
Sometimes we want to talk about ways two people or things are the same. To talk about a similarity, we use as plus adjective plus as.
Maybe you can describe Jackie Baker.
She's as tall as you are.
Nick means that Jackie and the receptionist are the same height.
Okay, so when we want to talk about ways two people or things are the same, okay, are the same, or maybe to talk about a similarity, we're going to use this structure. So if I want to show that something is the same than another thing as another object, maybe, I don't know, as another person, right? We're going to use this structure, right? As plus adjective plus as. In the example, we're going to notice that we have maybe you can describe Jackie Baker, right? She's as tall as you are. So in this case, the receptionist, Nick means that Jackie and the receptionist are the same height, right? So that's the result of why we're using this structure, okay? We can also use it with adverbs, right? We use this structure to make comparisons when the things are comparing are equal in some way. For example, if I'm gonna say, okay. So in this example, I have the world's biggest ball is as big as a small elephant, right? So I'm making a comparison. Well, in this case, that the world's biggest ball is as big as, it's at the same height, it's at the same weight as a small elephant. Okay, so I'm trying to show that two things are similar in some way. Okay, so let's continue with point number 2.
Sometimes we want to talk about ways two people or things are different. To talk about a difference, we use not as plus adjective plus as.
Things aren't as bad as they seem.
Okay, so in this case, we're gonna look for this other example. Things aren't as bad as they seem. As you can see, we are using the negative not as, plus adjective, plus as, right? When I'm gonna show that two things, two people are different, I'm gonna use the negative not, okay? So it is equal to say things aren't as bad as they seem, right? So in this case, I'm trying to express that are different, right? So how about this other example? I'm gonna write it below. It's it's not as heavy as I thought. As I thought it would be. Okay. So look at the structure. First of all, I'm using not. Okay. All right. I'm using at, and then I'm continue with the whole structure that we saw in point number 2, as plus adjective plus as, right? Not as heavy as, right? So in this case, I'm showing that I'm showing a difference, right? How about this other example? Okay. That's not Rory has not grown as tall as Tommy yet, so I'm saying that Rory maybe is not as tall as the other as Tommy, right? Maybe he's more tall than. Okay, look at the structure. Oh, it was supposed to be since this part. So I'm showing a difference, right? In this case, Rory it's more high, right, than Tommy. Okay. Oh yeah, no, Tommy is more high than Rory, right? How about this other example? Okay, so I have another sentence template as well as the usually play. Okay, in this case, I'm using the negative at the beginning, right? In this part. Okay, so I don't know if you have any question, just let me know, right? Okay, let's continue with point number 3.
When the meaning is clear, we often leave out the second part of the comparison. Dean's a good player, but is he as good as Nick?
Sure, he's just as good.
In this example, Zach means Dean is as good as Nick.
Okay, so in this example, I'm trying to show, well, you have to pay attention to this part, I mean, right? And the same happens in Spanish, right? When the meaning is clear, we often leave out the second part, right? So what is the second part? This one, right? This is the second part. So this is the first part, and this is the second part, right? But it is clear. I know that I'm talking about Nick, right? So it could sound redundant. That's the reason why I'm not adding something like that. Dean's a good player, but is he as good as Nick? Sure, he's just as good as Nick, right? That's the meaning, as Nick. But we're not writing it because it's clear. It's clear, right? So it's clear. So then it's unnecessary to do it. Okay. So that will be everything until this part, guys. So please give me a second. I'm gonna look for other. I found these slides, this PDF, where you're gonna find a lot of exercises So give me a second. I was trying to download it, but I couldn't. I hope now I can. Okay, give me a second. All right, it is loading. Please give me a second. I'm gonna send this PDF to your WhatsApp group because this is gonna help us in order to understand some lessons better, right? My computer is so slowly. Okay, wait for it. How about if I close the window? No. No, I have a problem with my computer. No way. There's no way. I can't open it. Oh, okay. Okay, it is loading. We're gonna be patient with it. Okay, we're gonna wait for a second, please. Oh my goodness. No, guys, I'm having problems. I can't open. Oh no. Please give me a second. I don't know what happened. I can't find it. Oh yes, okay. Now I guess I can. All right, yes. No, it wasn't. Okay. So in this PDF, you're gonna find. I really like this PDF because you're gonna find a lot of documents, right? A lot of grammar explanation. Okay, so we're gonna look for it. Oh. Get some words, relatives, comparative. No. Okay, I don't know which one is. I guess it's the empower, but I'm not sure at all. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna look for this other option. Okay, I guess it's this one. Yes, I guess it's from National Geographic. Yes, I found it. Oh my god, I'm so happy with it. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen again. Alright, I don't know why I can't share it. Okay, yes, I guess now it's available, right? So in this page, we're gonna find some comparatives that we're also gonna find comparisons, right? It's in page number 7, okay? But first of all, we're gonna look for, okay, we're gonna read this. We're gonna go first to our grammar explanation. Okay. Okay, where is it? Okay, there you have it. All right, so let's take a look at this. We're actually gonna read this first, right? No, then as a second, please, right? As a second part. So in this case, we're gonna find some comparisons, as plus adjective or adverb plus as, right? Of course, we're gonna learn 3 parts of this. Okay, this is very important to know. Okay, the first point, it's about adjectives, right? We're gonna use as plus adjective or adverb plus as to compare two people, places, or things that are the same or equal in some way. All right. So if I'm gonna use an adjective, in this case it's old, I'm gonna say your car is as old as mine. So I'm saying that my car is old and your car is old too, right? So I can also use it with adverbs. I can run a mile as fast as you can. All right, in this case, as fast as, right, I'm using an adverb, right, as fast as. So I can also use well, I can also use carefully. I drive as carefully as you do, okay? To complete a comparison with as plus as, you can use a noun plus verb, a. For example, I dance as well as my brother. In parentheses, we're gonna find dances, right? Because it's not necessary, right? The verb is not necessary, because it could sound a little bit of redundancy. So that's the reason why it's not necessary at all, only if you want it, right? But I recommend not to do it. We can also use the subject pronoun plus a verb or an auxiliary verb. I dance as well as he dances. Okay, so in this case, we're using as well as he dances, right? We're using the subject pronoun plus the verb or an auxiliary verb. Oh, in this case, we're writing dances. Okay, I can see, as I told you, I lost my glasses, right? I dance as well as he dances. Or I can also use an auxiliary verb, right? It corresponds to the time tense of the sentence. I dance as well as he does. We can also use with a possessive noun or a possessive pronoun. My computer is as old as Rita's, right? I'm using the positive. Or how about the second one? My computer is as old as hers. I'm using a possessive pronoun. For this, well, at this point, you have to know how to use them, all of them, right? The possessive pronoun, the possessive nouns, okay? In informal speaking, object pronoun are often used to complete comparison with as plus as. So if I'm gonna say in a formal way, he's as tall as I am. But if I'm gonna say in an informal way, I can change it with an object pronoun. He's as tall as me, and it's okay, right? Then, all right, no, this is not part of the lesson, right? So we're gonna read this text first. Okay, so online reviews, you're gonna notice the words involved. So Denise, what changes have you seen in marketing recently? Well, as you know, customers love to post online reviews of products these days. These reviews are now just as important as traditional advertising, maybe even more important. TV advertising is as useful as it was before, of course. On the other hand, newspaper ads are much less effective than they used to be. That's interesting. I've spoken to some marketing people who aren't as positive as you are about online reviews. Really, I'm surprised. There are certainly some concerns with online reviews. For example, satisfied customers are less likely to write reviews than people who have had a problem. This means there might be more negative reviews than positive ones, but online shoppers are wiser now. A few negative opinions are not as harmful as they used to be. Also, the positive reviews can be as valuable as ads. If a customer loves product, he or she will endorse it just enthusiastically as a TV ad does. Okay, so we're gonna find some vocabulary. First of all, is the word ad, newspaper ads. Okay, it's a short adverb. It's the short word for advertisement, okay? Then we're gonna find the second word, endorse. Where is it? Oh, I can find, okay. He or she will endorse it just, okay. Endorse is to say that you support or approve or of someone or something, okay. He or she will endorse it as just as it just as enthusiastically as to be just, okay. Support or approve of someone or something. Then we have enthusiastically, to do something in a way that shows a lot of interest and excitement. Okay, so as you can see, we found some words like, well, this part of the lesson, as important as useful as, then aren't as positive as, less likely, oh no, not as harmful as valuable as enthusiastically as, okay? So I have some positive ones and I have some negatives, right? Statements. In this, well, it's not a statement, structure, right? In this case, guys, when I'm gonna use a positive one, an affirmative one, it means like it's similar, right? The same. So I'm gonna use a negative, it means are different, okay? So in this case, I've spoken to some marketing people who are not as positive as, okay, so I'm comparing, I'm showing the difference between some marketing people and you, all right? Some marketing people who aren't as positive as you are, right? So you have to take care in that part, the use of it, all right? All right, so let's do this part. Look at each phrase from the discussion in exercise 1. Does the phrase mean equal or not equal? Okay, as useful. Okay, it looks interesting. Let's do it. Okay. Not equal. Not equal. Not equal. 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 That's the correct answer, right? Then, look at the phrases from exercise. Okay, what words? Okay. Okay, we're gonna see this other, this is not part of the lesson, right? But it is gonna help. It is gonna help us in order to know about how could be the other use of it, right? More vocabulary, right? Okay, let's see it. I'm a little bit tired, guys. I'm sorry. I had classes until I had a homework, and I'm so exhausted. I'm so tired, right? So okay, we're gonna learn how to use comparisons, right? With less and not as, okay? So we have this phone is less expensive than that one, right? I'm using less. I have the option to use an adjective or adverb. Then, okay? This phone is less expensive than that one. This old phone works less efficiently than the new phone. Okay. You have two options, right? Less and than, and not as plus as, right? This phone is not as expensive or not as good as that one. This old fan does not work as efficiently as the new fan. This old fan does not work as well as the new fan. The opposite of more is less. We know that. Not as plus as and less have the same meaning, right? My old car was less efficient than my new car has the same meaning than that my old car was not as efficient as my new car. It's the same, but different structure. We're gonna use not as plus an adjective or adverb as with one syllable or adjectives or adverbs, right? For example, big is a short one. It has one syllable. It's one syllable adjective. My apartment is not as big as yours. Tim doesn't run as fast as Steven. Okay. But how about if I'm gonna have more syllables? Okay, I'm gonna use less. Useless than not or not as, so adjective plus adverb or adverb plus adjectives or adverbs that have two or more syllables. The meaning is the same. Let's look at an example. Frequently has more than one syllable. Okay, so my son visits less frequently. Frequently has more than one syllable. So than my daughter. All right. My son doesn't visit as frequently as my daughter. It's a syllable that contains more than one. Okay, so you have to remember that if the comparison is clear, the second part of the comparison is not necessary. That's what we saw in person. The food at Joe's Cafe isn't as good as the food at Chef's Claude, right? But it's less expensive. The food at Joe's Cafe is less expensive than the food at Chef's Claude, but isn't as good. But it isn't as good. I'm not saying as good as, right? Joe's Cafe, because it's not necessary. It is clear actually. Okay, so don't forget about it. When it's clear, it's not necessary to write it or to write it, the second part, to complete the second part, right? So, okay, that will be everything until this point. I don't know if you have any question, right? Okay, we're gonna see this part. Okay, all right, we're gonna practice for a second in person. We're gonna watch the video we have. Okay, so you're gonna find some part of it. All right. Here we have it. Okay, so okay, let's pay attention to it.
Becky Baker, please. Do
Oh, I'm sorry, but there's no Jackie Baker here.
you mind if I look at that?
Not at all. Have a look. Let me guess. You're Nick.
That's right. How did you know?
Oh, you're famous around here.
Oh, do you follow soccer?
Soccer? No, never watch it. I was listening when that woman called you. I overheard everything.
Well, that's great.
She was really angry. Well, I've seen angry before, but she was like really angry.
I know. I was there. So, do you know what time it is?
Nearly 5. I was just getting ready to leave when you arrived.
It's probably too late anyway. The news is going to be on in an hour.
Okay, we're gonna listen to it, but with subtitles.
Becky Baker, please. Do
Oh, I'm sorry, but there's no Jackie Baker here.
you mind if I look at that?
Not at all. Have a look. Let me guess. You're Nick.
That's right. How did you know?
Oh, you're famous around here.
Oh, do you follow soccer?
Soccer? No, never watch it. I was listening when that woman called you. I overheard everything.
Well, that's great.
She was really angry. Well, I've seen angry before, but she was like really angry.
I know. I was there. Do you know what time it is?
Nearly 5. I was just getting ready to leave when you arrived.
It's probably too late anyway. The news is going to be on in an hour.
Okay, so there you have it. Okay.
No. Jackie Baker, please. Do
Oh, I'm sorry, but there's no Jackie Baker here.
you mind if I look at that?
Not at all. Have a look. Let me guess. You're Nick.
That's right. How did you know?
Oh, you're famous around here.
Oh, you follow soccer.
Soccer? No, never watch it. I was listening when that woman called you. I overheard everything.
Well, that's great.
She was really angry. Well, I've seen angry before, but she was like really angry.
I know. I was there. Say, do you know what time it is?
Nearly 5. I was just getting ready to leave when you arrived.
It's probably too late anyway. The news is going to be on in an hour.
Okay, so there you have it. So let's answer some questions. Okay. All right. So let's see. What does the receptionist say, Nick? What is the receptionist telling me? Jackie Baker has changed her name. There is no one named Jackie Baker. Okay. Number 1, I guess. How does the receptionist know Nick's name? She's a fan of Nick. Soccer fan, not soccer team. She saw Nick on the news report. She listened to telephone conversation with Nick, I guess. When will the news be on television? At 5. When Nick says it's probably too late anyway, that's too late. Okay. Okay. Or I don't know if it's okay. No. Okay, it was.
Say, do you know what time it is? Nearly 5. I was just getting ready to leave when you arrived. Well, it's probably.
Okay, so it was at 6, and the news will be on soon. Okay, so let's continue with the next part of the video. I guess we're gonna end the class soon because we actually finished all the lesson, right? But okay, we're gonna practice some exercises there, right? Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen with you. Okay, and I'm not sure if we've seen this lesson before, but we're gonna do it today, right, as a surety because we finished all the lesson and we have to complete the time. Okay, so we're gonna use comparative additives, right? The blue car is newer, and we have newer than the gray car. The blue car is more expensive than the gray car, right? So okay, how can we do this part? Okay, so I'm gonna explain it fastly, right? Use a compare. We have to take care in this part, right? Because when we are gonna talk about comparatives, we are gonna add er, right? So it's a characteristic from the comparatives additives, okay? Add er to our adjective. The blue car is newer than the gray car. The blue car is more expensive. Okay, so I have another structure, more expensive, right, than the gray car. So okay, let's read the first point. Use a comparative adjective, right? Then to compare to people, places, or things, right? So then you can use a comparative adjective plus noun when the comparison is clear from context. Okay, let's read the example below. Lydia is taller than Alex. Gorillas are more intelligent than cows. The bigger house is mine. The more interesting shows are on cable TV. So as you can see in the second example, the more interesting shows are on cable TV. I'm not saying than, okay, because it's unnecessary. It is clear, right? It's clear from context. So that's the reason why we're not using it. And then we're gonna add er to the end of most one-syllable adjectives to form the comparative. So if it's a short adjective, we're gonna use er. Okay, we have two rules. And when you are ready, you're gonna find in your adjective the letter E, the vowel E. It's unnecessary to add another E, so that's the reason why we're only gonna add R. Smaller, lower, larger, nice, nicer. Okay, so you are gonna add er to the end of most one-syllable adjectives to form the comparative. If the adjective ends in E, add R. Okay, larger, nicer, nice, nicer, large, larger. Okay, so in the third point, you're gonna use more before most long adjectives. Okay. For example, we have Jack is more serious than Nikki. So the word serious has more than one syllable, two or more than, right? So that's the reason why I'm adding more, right? The point of this is not today the word larger than it is, okay? More larger than it is, larger than it is, so, okay. So that's the reason why we're gonna continue with the second point. Do you think math is more important than? The word important has more than one syllable. So that's the reason why we're using more. And then it's gonna say like that, right? We're not gonna modify it. Okay, we have some two-syllable adjectives that are used with either er or more form, the comparative. For example, is the case of quiet and simple. I have the option to say quieter or more quiet. Simple, right? Simpler or more simple. Okay, more simple, simpler. So as you can see, those words have more than one way to use it, to combine it. And then we have some adjectives have an irregular comparative form. Is the case as we have irregular verbs, we also have irregular adverbs or adjectives. Okay, good, better. For far, I have two, farther and further. For bad, I have worse. Okay, so words such as little, a lot, much, and not much are often used with quantify comparative adjectives, right? So if I'm gonna say Tina is a little taller than Nick, I'm trying to show to show a quantify, right? That there exists a quantifying comparative. Okay, so that will be everything. Okay, so we're gonna continue with comparative adverbs. Now we're gonna look for those adverbs. The structure is the same, right? So we have use a comparative adverb, then to compare two actions. For example, Mike works harder than Jeff. Harder, I'm using harder because it's a short adverb. Carl drives more carefully than Peter. More carefully because carefully it contains two or more syllables. Okay, so we're gonna add er to the end of one syllable adverbs to form the comparative. Fast, faster. Long, longer. Hard, harder. High, higher. Quickly, more quickly. Frequently, more frequently. Okay, so oh, in this case, the adverb is quickly, right? For those adverbs that ends with ly, quickly, frequently, we have to add more quickly, more frequently. And we also have irregular comparative, irregular adverbs. Well, better, badly, worse, far, farther, and further, right? So it's another rule of it. Okay, so now we're gonna watch a video. It's a short video, right? I always show this video to my students. Okay. Okay. So there you have it. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen with you.
Compare qualities.
Oh no, it's not this one. Sorry.
There's a part.
Okay, so there you have. Well, in this case, we're gonna look for the comparative adjectives, and it's part just what I just explained you. Okay, it's about it.
That is so cute.
Thank you. I love that color. Bob, what do you think of our new clothes for the party tomorrow?
There's a party tomorrow?
It's Mr. Evans' birthday. Remember?
All right. Am I going?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
So tell us what you think of our new clothes.
All those clothes are for one party?
No, we have to decide what to wear. What do you think of these blouses?
They're very flattering.
Which one do you like more?
What do you mean?
Which one do you prefer?
I like them both the same.
No, you don't. You're just saying that. You need to have an opinion. You have to choose.
No, no, no. I'm not doing that.
Bob, please help us decide what to wear.
Okay.
Which skirt do you like?
The red one.
Great. That's not so hard, is it? Which shoes look better?
Those.
Which sweater do you prefer?
I like the purple one.
Bob, you like Marie's clothes more than mine.
No, I don't. That's not true.
Then which dress do you prefer?
That one.
This is Marie's dress too. What's wrong with my clothes?
Nothing. Nothing. I like your clothes. I like Marie's clothes. I like everything. I like all dresses and all sweaters and all skirts and all shoes.
Who asked you anyway?
Okay, so we have the second part of Theo. We're gonna watch it.
So, what are you going to wear to the party tomorrow night?
T-shirt and jeans.
A t-shirt and jeans? No way. You have to wear something nicer.
I don't have anything nicer.
You do now.
All that's for me.
What do you think of these?
Do you have anything looser?
Yep.
Too wild for me. Anything else?
Here you go.
I don't know. Those look pretty warm. Something cooler would be good.
Why don't we look at shirts?
Not bad. But it's pretty conservative, isn't it?
I love this one.
That doesn't look very comfortable.
Try this.
That looks a little cheap. Do you have anything more expensive?
That's it. Taking it all back to the store.
But what am I wearing tomorrow?
Just wear a t-shirt and jeans.
Okay, so let's pay attention to it one more time.
So, what are you going to wear to the party tomorrow night?
T-shirt and jeans.
A t-shirt and jeans? No way. You have to wear something nicer.
I don't have anything nicer.
You do now.
All that's for me.
What do you think of these?
Do you have anything looser?
Yep.
Too wild for me. Anything else?
Here you go.
I don't know. Those look pretty warm. Something cooler would be good.
Why don't we look at shirts?
Not bad. But it's pretty conservative, isn't it?
I love this one.
That doesn't look very comfortable.
Try this.
That looks a little cheap. Do you have anything more expensive?
That's it. Taking it all back to the store.
But what am I wearing tomorrow?
Just wear a t-shirt and jeans.
Okay, so there you have everything. Okay, so we've learned some ways about how can we make a comparison between the two things to people, right? In the video we saw about quotes, right? It was about quotes. So okay, now we're gonna continue with this second part. right? So, okay, gas prices are rising faster. Okay. Okay, we're gonna complete this comparisons, right? So what can we see in this part? Okay. All right. So, okay, this is very, very important, right? You can use an object pronoun to complete a comparison, but when we speak, we want to sound more. No, it's an informal way to express this part, right? So in a formal is informal speaking and writing, right? We actually use the subject pronoun plus an auxiliary verb, right? So Ed is 6 feet tall, right? And Bob is taller than him. So as you can see, I'm not mentioning it again. I'm going directly or I'm doing directly using the object pronoun. It is fixed. Is fixed 6 feet tall. Bob is taller than him, right? Or how about this one? We have another option, right? And this is a little bit more formal. So Ed is 6 feet tall. Bob is taller than he is. Okay. So we have the subject pronoun. He is the subject. He plus the auxiliary verb is. Okay. So all right. If you have any question, please let me know. Right. Please give me a second. The coordinator just talked to me. All right, so I'm done. Thank you for waiting, right? She was asking me about my personal information, right? So, okay, something that we actually do, right, is to use the auxiliary verb, right? Then, do not repeat the main verb. For example, if I'm gonna say Anna runs faster than Pat, does. Okay, so as you can see, I'm using the verb, right? But it's in, I know that from the simple present, I use the auxiliary does or do, right? Depends on of the subject, okay? In this case, I'm talking about simple present. I'm talking about another person. So that's the reason why I'm using the auxiliary verb. That auxiliary verb does because of the rule, right? So Anna runs faster than Pat does, okay? We don't use or we don't repeat the main verb, right? Anna runs faster than Pat than Pat runs. It's incorrect. As I told you, don't repeat the main verb. You can use an auxiliary verb, right? It depends on the context. So in this case, we wrote does because we're talking in simple present, we're talking in third person, so it corresponds, right? Well, we're gonna talk about the possessives, right? A possessive noun or possessive pronoun can be used after than. My car was more expensive than Ellen's. Ellen's. Oh, that's a cute name, Ellen's. So I'm using the possessive pronoun, the possessive noun, sorry, right? Or how about the other example, right? Please give me a second, guys. I received another message from the coordinator. All right. So, then hers. In this case, we're using the possessive pronoun, hers. My car was more expensive than hers, right? So if you don't want to repeat, you can only use the possessive pronoun. The possessive pronoun, okay? All right, so we're gonna continue with point number 4. If the comparison is clear, then the second part of the comparison are not necessary, right? Nowadays, smartphones are cheaper, right? Than all we know that are cheaper than the old ones, right? But it's not necessary to do it, to say it, right? Because it's logical, it's part of the logical sense. So for those cases, it's not necessary to add, right? Are not necessary. So nowadays smartphones are cheaper, and that's okay because the meaning is understood, right? So if you have any question until this point, please let me know. And something that is important is that you have to be careful, right? You have to use than, not then, in a comparison, right? I work harder than I used to. I work harder than I used to. Then is another word, right? It doesn't have the same meaning than. So that's the reason of why it's incorrect, right? It's not part of the structure or something like that. So we're gonna solve this exercises below. My computer is more efficient than yours, right? Why? Because this is my possessive pronoun. Okay, let's continue with number 2. The white coat is warmer than, because we said that then is incorrect. You remember? Ellen buys nicer clothes than I do. Cars are expensive, but houses are more expensive than. Okay, the first part, right? More expensive, because this is not necessary. Does your newest cereal play music more loudly than your old one? Did, right? Because we said that we used, does your newest cereal play music more loudly than your old one? Did. We don't use the main verb, right? Was the model? Okay, yes, it's correct. Harry's motorcycle is newer than mine. Possessive pronouns. Cole's package arrived more quickly than Kelly's. Okay, Cole's package arrived more quickly than Kelly's said than Kelly was. Okay, did. Dave is 27 years old. His sister is older than he does. Okay, we only use auxiliary verbs. All right, so let's continue with this part, complete the comparison using the information in parentheses, do not repeat the same noun. Okay. Tom takes better photos than him. Miguel's suit is more fashionable than Chats. Just only Chats than Chats. You finish your shopping more quickly than hers. Jeff's kitchen is larger than ours. This printer prints more quickly than yours. My apartment is more comfortable than their apartment than theirs. Alexander's set is harder than her sister, than hers. Okay, so all right, we're gonna continue with one video that we have in person with the second part of the video. Okay, give me a second, please. All right, there you have. So let's pay attention to this video.
So Nick, is there anything else I can do for you?
Yes, maybe. Could I speak to someone else at Kicks?
Excuse me.
Kicks Shoes? May I speak to someone else at Kicks Shoes? You know, Kicks Shoes, the new startup company?
Sorry, Nick, but there's no kick shoes here either. In fact, I'd never even heard of them before today.
I don't understand. You mean they don't have an office here?
No, I'm afraid not. But cheer up. Things can be as bad as they seem.
No?
Maybe you could describe this Jackie Baker to me.
Great, thanks. She's about as tall as you are. She's got long black hair. She wears glasses. She was wearing a blue suit when I met her here. She looked like a serious executive.
And she's got blue eyes.
Yes, do you know her?
No. I was just trying to help, you know, like a sketch artist on a cop show. Sorry, I didn't mean to get your hopes up. I don't know where I was.
All right, so we're gonna watch it one more time, but with subtitles, as you can see, as the second part of the video, right? So let's pay attention to it.
So Nick, is there anything else I can do for you?
Yes, maybe. Could I speak to someone else at Kicks?
Excuse me.
Kicks Shoes? May I speak to someone else at Kicks Shoes? You know, Kicks Shoes, the new startup company?
Sorry, Nick.
Yes, maybe. Could I speak to someone else at Kicks?
Excuse me.
Kicks Shoes? May I speak to someone else at Kicks Shoes? You know, Kicks Shoes, the new startup company?
Sorry, Nick, but there's no kick shoes here either. In fact, I'd never even heard of them before today.
I don't understand. You mean they don't have an office here?
No, I'm afraid not. But cheer up. Things can be as bad as they seem.
No?
Maybe you could describe this Jackie Baker to me.
Great, thanks. She's about as tall as you are. She's got long black hair. She wears glasses. She was wearing a blue suit when I met her here. She looked like a serious executive.
And she's got blue eyes.
Yes, do you know her?
No. I was just trying to help, you know, like a sketch artist on a cop show. Sorry, I didn't mean to get your hopes up.
Okay, so oh, why did I stop sharing my screen? Sorry. Okay, so our prediction. Okay, so we're gonna read this first part. Okay, so look at the picture. Nick is describing Jackie Baker to the receptionist. Predict. What do you think Nick might say she saw? Okay, so you've seen the video, right? But give me a second. Okay. I wanted to show you this part, guys. Right? And we're gonna look for this structure, right? Using less, okay? So we're gonna read this first paragraph, but it's an online review. So you're gonna notice the words in bold. This is the excerpt from a discussion between the professor of a business class and a guest speaker. Notice the words in bold. All right, so Denise, what change have you seen in marketing recently? Well, as you know, customers love to post online reviews of products these days. These reviews are now just as important as traditional advertising, maybe even more important. Advertising is as useful as it was before, of course. On the other hand, newspaper ads are much less effective than they used to be. That's interesting. I've spoken to some marketing people. Oh, but we read these guys. Oh my God. It was not. No, okay, that was the paragraph I was supposed to read. Okay. Okay. The Jolly Roger pirate ship. Customer reviews. A huge success. Our family loves this. Our last playhouse was much less exciting than the Jolly Roger. It was also less attractive as this one. And this is really an important point. It wasn't as safe as. Okay, as you can see in this first part, we are not using or we're not adding the second part because it's unnecessary, right? My kids enjoyed this, but for me, putting it together was just as hard building as real pirate ship. It's true that I probably don't build things as quickly as a lot of other people do. And maybe I'm not as good with tools as they do, but I still think this product should be less complicated than, okay? So again, we're using the other structure we saw, less complicated than. My 4-year-old son says this play structure is fun as real pirate ship. He plays in it as often as he can, but my 6-year-old daughter isn't as enthusiastic as she is about it. I'm a little disappointed because she uses it less often than I expected, right? So, okay, now look at the chart, comparing three internet movie services, okay? Then complete each sentence with the words in parentheses if less and not, okay. So, oh, okay. Fab's membership fee is as cheap as my screens. Becoming a member of my screen is a member, yes, is is not as expensive as joining C-Movie. Yes, C-Movie's monthly rate is high as where is it? Okay, this one, monthly rate. Yes, is as high. No, it's not high. It's not higher as the others. C-Movie at movies for movie. Okay. Okay. C-Movies for C-Movies. At new movies done. At new movies frequently done. For C-Movies. Oh, okay, it is here. New movies, okay. Frequently add new movies than fab. Not, it's negative, right? Because C movies add more at every month and fab add every week. Adds every week. Okay, so we're gonna read this other paragraph, this article about the problem of Mount Everest. Okay, so you have to notice the words in bold, right? Mount Everest, the highest garbage dump in the world. Most people know that Mount Everest is the highest mountain in the world. However, there is another fact that many people don't know. It has become one of the dirtiest mountains in the world. Mount Everest is one of the tallest and most exciting mountains to climb on Earth. It is not the coldest or the windiest place on Earth, but it comes close. These challenges make it one of the most attractive mountains for serious climbers. Since 1952, over 3,500 climbers have reached the top. Unfortunately, most of them have left equipment and trash on the mountain. In fact, trash is now one of the biggest threats to the environment on Mount Everest. Local organizations have brought tons of trash down from the mountain. One of the most interesting projects handed over more than a ton of tin cans, glass bottles, and old climbing tools to artists in Nepal. The artists used to use the trash to create works of art. Then they sold the art to raise money for their local charities. The least expensive work of art cost $17, and the most expensive cost $2,400. Okay, so now we're gonna continue with we find a new word that maybe you know the meaning. A charity, an organization that raises money to help people. Okay, so in this case, we're gonna find, give me a second, please. Check the right. Okay, so circle the correct word to complete each statement, right? According to the writing, Mount Everest is very clean and dirty. Okay. The correct one could be the Mount Everest is very clean. Right? Climbing Mount Everest is very difficult. Okay. Mount Everest is an unusual and popular mountain for serious climbers. Mount Everest is an unusual, a popular mountain for serious climbers. Okay. What else? Climbers rarely often leave trash. Okay. I guess often leave trash on Mount Everest. People create charities from the chart on Mount Everest. Yes, that's true. That's true, right? And okay, right. We're gonna see a short review of what is a superlative adjective. How can we form them with a superlative adverb, right? Okay, so let's pay attention to this first part. The red car is the nicest or the most expensive car in the parking lot. She runs the fastest the most slowly of all the players on the team. Okay, so we have point number 1. Use a superlative adjective to compare 3 or more people, places, or things. Ali is the tallest student in our class. Prague is the most beautiful city I've ever seen. What's the most interesting book you've ever read? Okay, so in the first part, we're finding the adjective tall, right? So in this case, we're comparing, right? We're actually gonna use this this structure, right, in order to compare maybe 2 things. All right. So Ali is the tallest student in our class. So is the top. Is there is no well, it's a kind of comparison, but it's the top of everything, right? So that's the reason why we use this structure. Is the tallest student in our class. How about the second option? Prague is the most beautiful city I've ever seen. Okay, the most beautiful. In this case, the most beautiful, right? Beautiful. This adjective has more than two syllables, right? So that's the reason of why we use the most, right? It's like in the other lesson we saw that we have to add more interesting than in the comparatives, but in the superlatives it's most because it's the top, right? Prague is the most beautiful city I've ever seen. It's the top until that moment, okay, until this moment. What's the most interesting book you've ever read? Okay, in this case, it's the same. The word interesting contains more than 1 syllable, more than 2 syllables, though, 2 or more than. So that's the reason why I'm using most, because it's similar to more, but it's the top. What is the most interesting book you've ever read? The most interesting book I read was, how is this book called? It's a guy. It's a child who has a wolf and a flower though. How is its name? Oh my goodness. I only know that the author's name is Andrew. I don't remember. Oh my god, but it's my favorite book, right? I guess it's the Prince. No. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna look for it. That's a good question. I've read that book in English though. It's very interesting. I always read that book. Oh, The Little Prince. Yes, The Little Prince. Right? It was the most interesting book I've read, right? So we're gonna use a superlative adverb to compare the action of three or more people or things, right? That's the coolest part in the comparatives. We can also use it. We can only use it to compare 2 things, but in the superlative, we are gonna use it to compare the action of 3 or more people or things, right? So of all my friends, so I'm talking about a group of guys, right? Alicia calls the most frequently. So I'm using an adverb, frequently, the most frequently, because the word frequently is like it's large. It's a large adverb, so it contains more than 2 syllables. The red shoes fit is the most comfortably of all my shoes, right? Then we're gonna use the third point. Add est to the end of the most 1 syllable adjectives. Okay, give me a second, please. The coordinator talked to me. She asked me something. Okay, so we're gonna ask up EST. Do you remember? You remember, right? In the comparative, we have to add ER, but in the superlative, I have to add EST to show that something is the top of a group, right? So if I'm gonna use an adjective, it could be I bought the longest coat in the store, right? So it's a short adjective, long. So that's the reason why I'm using EST. Then if I'm gonna use an adverb, Steve works hardest. This hard is a short adverb. So the rule explains us that if it contains only one syllable, I have to add EST of all the students. So it's the top of something, okay? So we're gonna use most before most adjectives that have two or more syllables and adverbs ending in ly. For example, Maria is the most careful climber of all the group. Careful contains more than two syllables or more than. The Grand Canyon is the most amazing sight I've ever seen. Amazing, right? So how about this last one? Beautifully, it's another verb that ends in ly. All of the girls, Brenda sings the most beautifully, right? Or how about point number 5? When for some two syllables adjectives and adverbs, either est or the most can be used to form the superlative. For example, is the case of stupid. I could say the stupidest or the most stupid. I know it sounds the stupidest. It sounds new. Cruel, the cruelest or the most cruel, right? And the last point, some superlatives are irregular, good and well. So the best, or for bad and badly, the worst. Okay, so we have to complete some these exercises below, right? So if you could have any question, please let me know, right? Okay, we're gonna continue with this point, more on superlative adjectives and adverbs. The opposite of the most is the least, right? This is the least expensive phone in the store. All the other phones cost a lot more. She tries the least carefully of all my friends. All my other friends try much more carefully. When we're gonna use a prepositional phrase in or of, right, are gonna help us in order to complete the superlative, right? The Nile is the longest river in the world. This hat is the prettiest of the three, right? Don't forget to use prepositional phrases if you require. And something that you have to remember when the comparison is clear, it's not necessary to complete it. I mean, the second part we actually omitted. This sentence is the longest. She won because she ran the fastest, right? So I'm not completing because I know, because it's logical, right? And as a last part, we have one of the often, one of the often. Well, the word one of the, right? That's the word. Often it comes before, right? Often comes before a superlative adjective. So the superlative adjective is followed by a plural noun. You don't have to forget that. China is one of the biggest countries, right? So I'm using the plural noun, right? Why? Because I have one of the, right? And because of the superlative adjective, right? I'm talking about a group of. So that's the reason why I wrote this word in plural, right? So we're gonna finish the class until this point, guys. Because we finished all the lesson, as I told you, it was a short lesson. I show you some videos instead. The homework and the quiz is already assigned, so please, you don't have to forget today, right? What else? We're gonna continue on Monday with the next lesson, and it's about inseparable phrasal verbs, right? So until this point, you know how to use some superlatives, right? Adjectives and adverbs. You know how to use comparisons with superlatives and adjectives, right? The negative of them, right? Of all of them. So if you have any question, please let me know. I hope you had a great weekend and be careful, please.